Velma TV series. Velma is an American adult animated mystery comedy television series based on the character Velma Dinkley from the Scooby-Doo franchise, developed by Charlie Grandy for HBO Max. It stars executive producer Mindy Kaling as the voice of the titular character, with Sam Richardson, Constance Wu, and Glenn Howerton in supporting roles. The series revolves around Velma Dinkley and the other human members of Mystery Inc. before their official formation. This is the first series in the franchise to not feature the Scooby-Doo character. The series premiered on January 12, 2023 to mixed reviews from critics. American animated television series. American TV series or program. Plot. The series serves as an alternate universe origin story for Mystery Inc. Pitched as a love quadrangle between them, it primarily focuses on Velma Dinkley as she tries to solve a mystery regarding the disappearance of her mother, as well as the numerous murders of local teenage girls. Voice cast. See also, List of Scooby-Doo char actors. Much of the recurring voice cast was revealed in a thread on the show's official Twitter page. Mindy Kaling is Velma Dinkley, a snarky teenage would-be detective who has a crush on murder suspect Fred Jones. Because her mother went missing years prior, Velma has horrific guilt-based hallucinations every time she attempts to solve a mystery, a lifelong passion she blames for her disappearance. She is portrayed as bisexual and a South Asian American due to Kaling's ethnicity, a first for the char actor Glenn Howerton as Fred Jones, a popular but dim-witted 16-year-old murder suspect, and Velma's crush, who is the heir to the Jones Gentleman Collection fashion line. He is also a noted late bloomer in terms of puberty. He is the only original Mystery Inc. member portrayed as white, as in all other Scooby-Doo. Sam Richardson as Norval Rogers, Velma's best friend and a school news reporter, who has a crush on her and frequently brings up how much he hates drugs. He is portrayed as African American, a first for his character, and is exclusively referred to by his real first name instead of Shaggy, his familiar nickname. He also does not share the original Shaggy's cowardice, although his love of snacks remains a constant. Who is Daphne Blake, a popular girl and Velma's former best friend, who has complicated feelings for her. Brought up by two adoptive mothers, Daphne hopes to discover her biological parents and sells drugs to her fellow students in order to afford a detective. This version is portrayed as East Asian American, a first for her char actor Russell Peters as Amin Dinkley, Velma's lawyer father, who struggles to keep her in line. Melissa Fumero as Sophie, Amin's pregnant model girlfriend who also owns the Spooner's Malt. Shiksarew Blue as Jaya Dinkley, Velma's absentee mother. Jen Lynch as Donna Blake, one of Daphne's two adoptive mothers, who is a slightly incompetent detective investigating Brenda's murder. Wanda Sykes as Linda Blake, Daphne's other adoptive mother, who shares her profession. Cherry Jones as Victoria Jones, Fred's mother. Frank Welker as William Jones, Fred's father, who is ashamed of him. Welker has voiced Fred since the character's inception in Nicole Byer as Blythe Rogers, Shaggy's mother, and the principal of Crystal Cove High. Gary Cole as Lamont Rogers, Shaggy's therapist father. His design bears a resemblance to Shaggy's original design. Stephen Root as Sheriff Coburn, the incompetent sheriff of Coolsville. Wired Al Yankovic as Dandruff Tuba, a student at Coolsville High. A running gag involves him getting frequently injured by the gang's antics. Fortune Feinster as Olive, a popular girl at the gang's shul. Yvonne Orgy as Gigi, a cool girl at the gang's shul. Mina Wen as Carol. Shay Mitchell as Brenda, an attractive, popular girl at the gang's school who was brutally murdered by a serial killer via having her brain ripped out. Debbie Ryan as Krista, another attractive girl at the gang's school who is murdered in the same manner as Brenda. Girl. Anthony Towns as Jockboy, a handsome jock at the gang's shul. In addition, Ken Loon and Kuluk Vilasak have been cast in undisclosed roles. Episodes. Velma is implicated when Brenda is murdered in the school locker room and is tasked with clearing her name within 24 hours. After hearing from Norval that it might be connected to a missing camera and a cover-up in the malt shop bathroom, she suspects that Sophie is involved, but she is soon proven innocent. Amin explains that Dai simply left them on purpose, supposedly solving the mystery. Velma attempts to move on, only to be confronted by the other girls, including Daphne, who lets it slip that Fred has some insecurities and is known to kick partners out of the malt shop bathroom. Velma and Norval sneak into his mansion and find the latter's camera, revealing that Fred was the one who covered up the evidence. Fred explains that he's simply embarrassed about being a late bloomer and seemingly plans to kill Velma, but actually just wants to buy her silence. He's nonetheless taken in by Donna and Linda. With her name cleared, Velma strives to pick up mystery solving again and figure out what really happened to her mother, only to find that Krista has been murdered as well. Candy Womackle Ramsiak Sharsakar January 12, 2023 January 12, 2023. While Amin reluctantly agrees to defend Fred in court, Velma asks Daphne for the cold case file on Daya, but Daphne says she'll only do it if given $500. Velma soon discovers that Daphne is the school's candy woman and is threatened into helping her sell more drugs. Meanwhile, Norval makes several attempts to get the $500 for her, from selling a sword from his room to almost donating a kidney. He is rewarded $500 for apprehending a gunman but doesn't accept it, figuring he should win Velma's heart in a moral way. Daphne reveals the real reason why she is selling drugs and ends up reconnecting with Velma. Amin agrees to give Velma the $500 if she helps him prove Fred's innocence, which she ultimately does. Everyone is convinced, but Fred snaps when his childishness is displayed to the public and is declared guilty. While Amin's career is ruined, Daphne gives Velma her mother's file. It contains a clue stating that her phone last went off at Fred's house. Much to her shock, Daphne manages to stop her hallucination by kissing her, much to Norval's dismay. Velma kite back to January 19, 2023 January 19, 2023. Velma makes a list back to January 19, 2023 January 19, 2023. Our marching band sleepover back to January 26, 2023 January 26, 2023. Earth Sins of the Fathers and Some of the Mothers back to January 26, 2023 January 26, 2023. Folk Fest back to February 2, 2023 February 2nd, 2023. Velma in the Woods back to February 2, 2023 February 2nd, 2023. Our Family Woman back to February 9, 2023 February 9th, 2023. Earth Brains of the Operation back to February 9, 2023 February 9th, 2023. Production. The series was first announced on February 10, 2021. On July 11, 2022, the trademark for the series was listed as abandoned, only for HBO Chief Content Officer Casey Bloys to confirm the series to still be in production in an August memo. Studio IM in South Korea handled the series animation, with the series previewing at New York Comic Con on October 6. Or some of the characters are notably race-swapped. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Mindy Kaling explains that the essence of Velma is not necessarily tied to her whiteness, and I identify so much as her character, and I think so many people do, so it's like, yeah, let's make her Indian in this series. Unlike most Scooby-Doo incarnations, this series will not feature Scooby-Doo himself due to studio mandates, combined with the crew struggling to come up with an adult take on the character. Matthew Lillard, the current voice of Shaggy Rogers in most Scooby-Doo media, expressed his support for the cast of Velma as opposed to his disappointment of not being cast in Scoob. Velma marks the second series to feature Frank Welker not voicing Fred Jones after a pup named Scooby-Doo, though Welker is still involved in the show by voicing Fred's father. Release. The first 2 episodes of Velma were released on January 12, 2023 on HBO Max, with the rest of the episodes being released in weekly pairs until February 9, 2023. Notably, the series broke HBO Max's record for the biggest premiere day of an original animated show. Reception. Velma has received mixed reviews from critics. The review aggregator website, Rotten Tomatoes, reported a high percentage approval rating from 20 critics. The website's critics' consensus reads, "Jinkies, this radical reworking of the beloved mystery team has plenty of attitude and style, but it doesn't have the first clue for how to turn its clever subversion into engaging fun." Metacritic, which uses a weighted average, assigned a score of 59 out of 100 based on 14 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Saloni Gadger of AV Club gave the show a positive review, praising most of the humor, characterization, storytelling, voice cast, and creative liberties, but stating that sometimes the show falls victim to the tropes it mocks. She concluded the review by saying, "This isn't the Velma we're used to, but it's the Velma we deserve to enjoy today." Darren Franick of Entertainment Weekly was far more negative and gave the show a C, describing it as a self-aware slog and so extra it's minus. He criticized the strong emphasis on pop culture references and meted humor, and how they tend to bury the few bright spots. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times gave it 2 out of 4 stars, and wrote that at times the humor is smart and spot on, but it quickly becomes exhausting. It's as if a team of very clever scribes gathered in a writer's room and recorded everything they said and then shoehorned all of it into the series. Shannon Miller of Consequence criticized the show's unbalanced tone, lack of focus, absence of Scooby-Doo, and overstuffed narrative. She also stated that the series feels a bit PG in comparison to other adult animation currently in the works. Conversely, Miller praised the voice acting as well as some of the gags, ending the review by hoping for a second season to iron out its flaws, having noted that the show takes of the first season is really the pilot episode approach. In a mixed critique, Angie Hahn of The Hollywood Reporter praised the thoughtful, emotionally honest portrayal of Velma herself, but made note of how the show loves to poke fun at televised tropes, yet seems somewhat less sure of what it has to offer in their stead. She stated how the series' insistence that it's not like other shows grows thin, and criticized how the cast feels more like joke machines than individual char actors. Writing for IGN, Brittany Vincent criticized the series' portrayal of its title character, comparing her to a biting, hateful version of Daria without the character growth, and stating that this aspect of the show holds it back from being what it strives to be. She did, however, praise the side-splitting comedy and the portrayals of Daphne and Fred, concluding that ironically, the series would be exponentially better without its namesake, or at least a version of her with a bit more character growth. Paste Magazine's Randy Jones gave the series a 5.8 out of 10, praising the art direction and voice performances, but describing the writing as constantly at war with itself. They also compared it unfavorably to Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, which they deemed similar in intentions but superior in execution. Joshua Alston of Variety wrote that the show is irreverent to a fault, extolling most of the humor but stating that it could belong to any other comedy series. He also criticized the portrayal of the Mystery Inc. gang, whom he described as just really unpleasant to spend time with.